Hi guys, Selena Walker, naturopath and nutritionist here, living deep in nature here at Ysbryd Spirit of the Trees. And today I'm talking to you about Nettle Seed. Now Nettle, she is one of my favourite allies. And at this time of year, late summer, we start to get the seeds really plumping up. My favourite time to harvest the seed is that in-between time when they're plumping up and just before they start naturally drying on the plant. Now this patch here, you might be able to see in the video, I've got black plastic there waiting to turn that patch into soft fruit patch. And this is just the black plastic here that was rolled up. That bed there has got all this year's produce in. So this bit of grass here is ideal for nettles to get going. But the great thing about harvesting the seed is you stop it get going a bit too much. So the seeds are absolutely amazing. And I'm going to start harvesting it and I'll chat to you about why the seeds are so amazing while I harvest her. Now what you need is some gloves. Now quite often if I'm picking some nettle for tea or for small amounts myself, I will pick her bare-handed, because as long as you tune into your warrior energy and you grab her quite strong, the sting doesn't harm you. But I find when I'm going to be doing it for a long time, I tend to use gloves just to limit the sting to some degree anyway. These gloves have got so many holes in that, and the tops have no protection, that I'm going to get stung, and I'll just appreciate the medicine. So the easiest way to harvest the seeds is to chop down to about where the seeds end, and you could just simply hang that up. But what I'm going to do here, just empty that out because some things have fallen in already. I am going to simply snip and drop, but I find it easier to start by chopping off the leaves. And the reason I find it easier to do that is because the seeds are just at the base of the leaves and it can be very fiddly if you don't do it first. Now it is a bit of a task and it does take some time, but just appreciate the time and appreciate having the time to do this and connecting with the medicine. Now you might say, why aren't I harvesting the leaves? Well, once the seeds start to be made, the medicine in the leaves changes and it becomes quite high in certain compounds that can have an impact on the kidneys. Now what I find absolutely fascinating is, even though you can't eat the leaves because they have an effect on the kidneys, the seeds actually have a beneficial effect on the kidneys. So as the medicine changes and the leaves aren't good for the kidneys, the seeds do the job that you need. And as I always say, you know, when we're talking about herbal medicine, it's not like what I'd class as allopathic medicine, the general NHS here in the UK, because you go to the doctors and there's a symptom and there's a tablet which generally suppresses the symptoms, because as soon as you stop taking the tablet it comes back. But we're not talking about that in this video. What we're talking about is herbal medicine. So with herbal medicine it's very different, because this beautiful plant here has so many different qualities and it depends on so many different things. It depends on what part of the plant you're using, how you were feeling, what time of year it is, whether the plant has been dried, where the plant has been grown. And I just say the best way to get to know the plants is to work with them. And I don't mean just working with them when they arrive in a bag. I mean working with them on the land, growing them, going out into the wild and harvesting any of the plants that are in abundance in the wild. Obviously getting to know what plants aren't in abundance in the wild and that you shouldn't be harvesting. And that should be enough leaf now. So why am I harvesting the seed? Well, the seed I class as an adaptogen, and it is, I class it as adaptogen, it is an adaptogen. But do you know what's great? So many adaptogens I have in my cupboard at home are not grown in the UK. And the beauty about this is we can grow our own superfood. Nettle seed is a superfood. Nettle seed is full of omega oils, and because of it being an adaptogen, it helps just to restore the body. And because nettle is all about the warrior energy, it helps to restore the warrior within. So a great medicine for this time of year, because sometimes in the summer, let's be fair, life can get a bit crazy. And because life can get a bit crazy, the warrior energy can get a bit diminished. Maybe you have a bit of fatigue, maybe even adrenal burnout. And you know what? Nettle seed is amazing for adrenal burnout, because I've used that word adaptogen. Let me explain a bit about that, because not all of you will know what that word means. I always think of adaptogen, an adaptogenic medicine, as basically going in the body and bringing your body back to balance. So it's like your body's a big weighing scales, the traditional weighing scales, and an adaptogen will go in the body and search for what needs help and will rebalance it. And it usually works a lot on energy and anything that has difficult stress levels and just general burnout. So the main reason I would use nettle seed is for that reason. So I'm just snipping away, and what I'm going to do with this is, the reason I'm doing it now, it's not ideal on a really windy day, but the reason I am doing this now is because the sun is out. She's going behind the clouds a bit though, but the sun is out, and I want to dry this. So grandfather's sun will come out and it will allow me to use my dehydrator, because our energy here is powered by the sun. So I can use my dehydrator and all these amazing nettle seeds I can then put in a dehydrator and allow them to dehydrate, and then I can use them then throughout the winter, just letting a spider escape. I will leave these in the bowl for a short period of time, just to allow any creepy crawlies to come out and to free them back into the world. And as I'm putting the nettle seed into the dehydrator, I will also pull out anything that's not nettle seed, and then just leave the bowl outside on a tilt to allow any insects to crawl away. It's funny we call them creepy crawlies, isn't it? When you just notice that. I don't find them creepy at all. Like, actually, the word creepy crawly I actually love, because they just another amazing being that we share this world with. So you might have noticed when the nettle is going to flower, you might have noticed there's two very distinct different ones. If you haven't, I really invite you next time nettle is coming into flower to look, and you get the male and the female plants. So it's only the female plants that produce the seed. So now the seed is nice and plump, you can really tell which plants you want to take from. But when they're in flower, you can actually sit there and watch the male flowers. Almost, there's like little balls, no pun intended there, the male balls explode. I feel like I'm giving a sex education lesson here, but the male balls explode, ejaculate really, the pollen, and the female flowers look a bit fluffy, and they have these hairs. All the fluffiness is available there to capture the pollen. And the one other way you can tell the difference when you're looking at them when they're in the flower stage before they've turned to seed is the male flowers almost stand a bit more upright, a bit more erect again. And the ends can sometimes tip upwards, whereas the females kind of droop a bit lower down. So that is a great way to do it. And this is why I'm really encouraging you to get out there. Even in a small garden, you'll have nettles, and allow them to grow to the seed stage. Start to learn to identify them, because as you're learning all this, you and the plant will grow a relationship, like when you get to know someone better and you start to understand a bit more about them. You remember things easier about them, and the same will happen with the nettle plant. So the nettle seed, as I said, is an amazing adaptogenic plant. I will use this seed to help my any adrenal exhaustion going on, help any burnout. It's great for endocrine support for that reason, particularly if someone's got an underactive thyroid, it can be used for that. I've also mentioned kidney tonic. It can be used for depression, because of that how it works in the adrenals. It can just clear what's going on. And some research you look at, they mention that because of the effect it has on the acetylcholine neurotransmitter and serotonin levels, it can help with depression as well. And again, because of how it helps with burnout and the adrenal exhaustion and just supporting the endocrine system, it can also be a bit of an aphrodisiac. So loads of great reasons to harvest the nettle seeds and make use of them. Now, you don't have to dry them. You can simply just use them fresh on your food, sprinkle them on top of salads, but you might want to just rub them first to make sure that they are nice and plump. And some people do say that they get a bit of a sting from the seed, but I don't find that you get a sting. I think, to be honest, is when people are gathering them, they get stung by the stem and the leaves. But very easily, you can harvest just bits every day and put them on your meals. I find if you put them in smoothies, they tend to, unless the smoothie is very thick and holds it in, they will eventually float at the top. But why not sprinkle them on the top and then you can scoop them out? You can put them in bread. Another great thing is when you dry them, you could even add some to your salt mill and have them on your food. If you add salt, making sure it's good quality, I would recommend Himalayan crystallized salt. Then that'd be another great way of adding the adaptogenic superfood to your diet throughout the winter. And I just say nature gives us what we need at that time of year. And as I said, summer can get a bit crazy, particularly here with all the growing and the harvesting. And then nature gives us this amazing nettle seed to help with adrenal exhaustion and restore the warrior within. So hopefully that's inspired you to get outside, get looking at nettle seed and really start to look at nettles throughout the year and all the different qualities that she and he has, so you can tell the difference between the female and the male plants. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really helps get this wisdom out there. And you can also head on over to my website, selenawalker.earth, sign up to my free newsletter where you'll get hints and tips on how you can create a healthy body, a healthy mind and a healthy planet. I'll see you soon.